Hey, over here, bottom right hand corner, Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Hey guys. Yeah, we are feeling this small in this great big pond that we call the eBay market. Oh man, what a wonderful thing. Of course, we haven't done one in a week or so let's go ahead and do it. Fancy serial number report coming at you here. We're going to take a look, take a stroll down the wild side and see some pretty good sales from the fancy serial number arena of paper money collecting and hunting. Uh, Again, do I need to say more? It's a growing aspect to the numismatics hobby. It's not only just collecting currency, but also adding a little bit of a twist in there and popularizing something that is gaining a lot of steam these days. And we are going to venture forth and take a look at all of the most relevant fancy serial number patterns and types that you guys need to be on the lookout for. So if you're tired of roll hunting and you want to get out there and search for something a little bit different, look no further than the fancy serial number world. Go out there, go to your bank, go ahead and pick up a few straps. All you need is one strap to get the magic happening. All right, so one really only rule to this whole thing: we don't talk about graded paper money unless it makes sense to. Everything is generally sold as raw, which is good. If you find it and you want to flip it real quick, because, again, this is not everyone's tea, but it is a good way to make some pretty gosh darn good money. Just go ahead and take really good pictures of the note, both front and the back, full images, and then whatever relevant close-ups are needed. I would say you don't need no more than about 4 or 5 photos. Okay, 5 would honestly be overkill here. So we're going to start it off with this 1981A $1 bill, which has a low serial number. Now, this is a true low serial number note. Anything that has 5 leading zeros and higher is what is construed to be a real low serial number. Now, there are people that are adopting 4-digit serial numbers as being low, and that's totally fine. But I want you guys to know that those notes sell pretty well for what they are. So this particular note right here sold for $41 with 33 bids. Keep in mind that some of the sellers do charge shipping, so that's kind of like part of the cost of ownership. You could realistically say, if you added that into the cost of the note, at the end of the day, that's the total cost of ownership of it. So I could say that this thing sold for $44.65. I wouldn't be wrong. So this is one of the popular serial number patterns to be on the lookout for. I would say anything with 4 leading zeros and then lower, that's where the magic happens. The note is actually in spectacular shape in spite of its age. Don't let the 1981 date fool you, because this same serial number in the same condition on any date of note, going all the way up to 2021, which is our most current series date, will sell for about the same. All right, so just to let you know, the age does not matter too much there. The note overall, pretty nice, solid, pleasing VF with nice body of paper. It looks crisp when I see it. And it's in really good shape. That's a good collector's grade note there. The next one that we have here is our first 4-digit, what they call repeater. All right, it's on the 2021 $1 bill. This one sold for a buy it now for $35. This is, I would say, a little bit on the higher side for a 4-digit repeater, as these are kind of like the low end of the totem pole type of fancies. They are the ones that you come across more often than you do any other type of serial number pattern. So $35 was quite the surprising amount of money. I will say that the note is a crispy, fresh, uncirculated bill. Looks like it came out of a BEP pack. But this one shows 5405, 5405. So it's 4 digits repeated twice, the same number. So this note, again, looks to be in fantastic shape. It's brand spanking new, no folds. They put it right into currency sleeve protector, which is a nice touch. It means that they really do care about the presentation of their note. This is, yeah, sure. There's a few more extra photos. They could have pared down a little bit, but all in all, because of the quality of the images and, just being very thorough, the lighting's good. This is a listing here, ladies and gentlemen, that I could honestly say you ought to model your own listings after. Now, any competent smartphone will be able to take photos as good as this one. So this is like one of the overachieving sales here for this week, which is crazy considering that we had to go back, not more than 48 hours of market data to find all these notes. Our next one here, this one is actually very cool. It ended up selling for $41.45, and that's with 9 total bids. It looks like a 2003A. It's a binary repeating radar. That is a mouthful. But binary in a sense, you have zeros and sevens, so that's any 2 digits. I love the sevens. Sevens are a very popular number by itself. And it's a radar, so the first 4 numbers repeat the same way. The second set of 4 numbers on the same serial number string. Palindrome, and it's a repeating. Because it's 7007, 7007. So this one has a lot going for it. The only thing holding it back, obviously, is the condition of the note. It's quite well worn and weathered. And that's okay. Because the type of fancy that this one is will help support the amount of desirability there is on the marketplace. Some people are willing to overlook things like condition issues. Now it'd be a different story if this thing was torn in half, or if it was missing a corner, or there's pinholes, or if it's got a big old juice stain on it. Things like that will largely affect the value. But things like this, where it looks like the note's been folded many times over and it's got some general wallet soiling, that's quite normal there. The next one that we have here, our first birthday note. Now, I want to kind of remind everyone that the only way that you should be selling a birthday or date note is a buy now, okay? Because they're very specific. There's only going to be so many people that actually want that specific date. So you might as well take advantage of that. Now, there is probably a chance that you're going to be sitting on this note on eBay for a month, 3 months, 6 months, or longer. It really takes someone that needs this date. Maybe it's the date of like a loved one, a born date or a passing date, things like that. And that's where some of the historical context kind of comes into play as far as like personal type of stuff. So this one right here reads 0910-1986. So September 10th. 1986. It reads perfectly, 2 digits for the day, 2 digits for the month, 4 digits for the year. Kind of like the Western world way of how we write, dates. And this one sold for $23. Now, most birthday notes generally tend to fall in that $20 to $30 range if they're oriented quite like this. All right, so this is a great example of that. The face of the note, someone did scribble with a pen. Again, don't try and clean stuff like that up. Just keep it the way it is. They're kind of really hard to fix. But all in all, that's a pretty good sale right there. And buy it now. The next one that we have here, we have actually a matching, or not matching, but a pair of $1 bills that have 5 leading sevens. Okay, so these probably all came from the same BEP pack, which is quite cool. And the pair sold for $25. That's with 20 bids. And they are very uncirculated. These are very nice, crispy, fresh notes. Sevens are some of the most popularly collected numbers out there. So if you're able to get 4 or 5 sevens in a row on a serial number, you could actually use that to your advantage. Now we're talking $2 face that ended up selling for a lot more than that. This is just one of those, kind of like great ideas here. As opposed to like selling them individually, you can pair them up a little bit and, go through them a lot quicker that way if you wanted to do that. All right, so just a little food for thought there. Nice little sale. From the same, I think it's from the same seller, we have another pair here with 5 leading 8s this time. Not the same seller because their pricing is so much different. So this person ended up getting $59 for their pair. Both are different blocks. So the top note's a G D block, the bottom note's a B D block. But you can see that the serial numbers match. They even ended 665, which is crazy. So that's what kind of helps support the sale price on this one at $59. Both notes are in phenomenal shape. The bottom one showing a little bit of a fold there in the center. But overall, great looking condition notes there. All right. The next one that we have here, our first just regular binary 3s and 1s on this $5 bill. It's a 2009. This one, unfortunately, only managed to get $8.50 with 9 bits. And I say unfortunately because, you have to consider whatever the face value of the note is that you're selling, it's going to be your cost of ownership of the note. So obviously the gross profit before we figure out fees and stuff ends up being $3.50. Now, fortunately, they did charge for shipping at $5. All right. So they overshot a little bit on the shipping there to where, they're going to make probably 50 cents on the shipment. Not a whole lot because eBay does, they do charge fees off of the shipping value as well. So you're not absolved from fees if you charge a higher shipping price. It used to be back in the day that people would charge like $100 for shipping on a collectible back when they weren't charging fees on shipping. And that was their workaround to make more money, So that doesn't quite apply these days. Now, I will say as far as condition, there's a pretty big edge split. Right where you see dollars at the bottom on the front of the note, you can see just a tear that goes from the middle of the D all the way down to the edge of the note. All right, so that's kind of a killer here with that one. It's unfortunate to see something like that, but that is on there, and that always affects the value of a note. All right, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be solid 7s. It could be 8 7s in a row on there, and it has that long tear in there. It's going to affect the value quite a bit. From the same seller, Summer the Cockapoo. All right, sold another matching pair for $59, and it's a 2017 $dollar bill and a 2013. I think this person just loves scouring the internet for the same serial numbers. They buy it and then sell it as a group. But this is what they call a flipper. So when you turn the note upside down, the 9s and 6s read the same. A 9 will read a 6 will read a 9, so on and so forth, because it's the same type style that they use. There's no serif, or it's not like a number 1 where if you flip it over, it still looks like a regular number 1. It doesn't look like that. So $59, again, a very nice high sale price on this one here. And, both very circulated notes. The bottom one especially, because it's a little bit older, but there you go. Here is this is a 6 of a kind 2s on a $20 bill. It's an old $20 bill, but this one ended up selling for $34.73. By the time the dust settles, I think Ronald J.H. here, the seller, probably profited about $10 bill in his pocket. But yeah, this is quite a nice one here too. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of 6 of a kind of any one particular number, unless they're like all together. If it's like leading off with 6 in a row of any one number, or trailing, which means ending. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice. It's an older, small head $20 bill, and the note is in phenomenal shape. It looks crispy uncirculated, so I'm just going to go out and say that it's crispy uncirculated. The next one that we have here from Ronald, Actually, we're probably one of the biggest sales I've seen of the 7 in a row sevens, bar none. I usually see these for around 80 to $100, but there probably is just something about this note right here to where it's worth every bit of the $296 that it sold for. And that's with 64 bids. It's a $93 bill. I mean, it's nothing too crazy or old here on that one. And the note itself is a pretty nice shape, you know. Yeah, virtually very minimal wear. A little bit of discoloration of the paper, you know, kind of like a what they call a tone or a tint to it, which kind of gives it a yellowish or brown appearance. And that's more so because just being around areas where it's hot or, you know, maybe in the sun or something like that. But that's a pretty big sale. Again, we usually see $80 to $100 sale prices for these type of notes. The next one that we have here, now this is much more like it. This is a dollar bill, 2006, 6 in a row twos. So it's leading off with 6 twos, $29.88, 16 bids here with this one. Good looking note. Again, this is the ticket here, and the note looks uncirculated. We also have a $10 bill. We have binary zeros and eights this time around. Very attractive serial number. This one sold for $42 with 16 bids. And there you go. That's your $10 bill. Nice yellowish note because that is the original paper color to it. Yeah. Here's an interesting one. So it's a dual date by year, 1960 to 1961. Typically, we call these Tombstone notes, and it sounds very, very, very unfortunate, like it does. But you have a year that is much earlier than the second year, and it kind of signifies the amount of time in which someone lives. So this obviously would be a baby. A little baby. I mean, I'm sure there was probably a few babies back in 1961 that did only live to be a year old, which is very unfortunate. I hate thinking about things like that. But that's kind of like what we have here. The true terminology for something like this is a tombstone note. You know, and it's sold for $30. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be the birth and passing of a loved one. It could have been like, you know, a relative, you know, served in Vietnam or during the Korean War during this time, or what, you know, whatever that case is. You know, maybe it could be a term of service of like employment or, you know, something to that effect. I really don't know. It could. There's a lot of significance here with this particular time frame. A lot of things were going on. You know, you had JFK and, you know, his term in office. And, you know, there's a lot of movie star type of things. Marilyn Monroe was still alive during this time. So, I don't know. Very interesting. And the fact that it was sold by someone from North Hollywood, California. Yeah, I just saw that a second ago. I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty neat. Could be like a movie star, you know, filming something at a specific time in 1960. So, I don't know. There's a lot of significance there, and it's only up to the person that buys it where they can truly unlock what it really means. Here's another 7 of a kind. So we do have a what they call an interrupter, which is just some random number in the middle. So it's just a 7 of a kind, all fours with one pesky 8 in the middle on a $20 bill. And the $20 bill is very well worn here. $51.01, 8 bids collected. And you can see the note is pretty fair weathered. But pretty cool serial number. And one that usually would attract attention. But judging from the overall condition of the note, it's passed through many hands. This is a neat one. And this kind of like fits the profile of what these typical notes sell for. Because I've seen them sell, and it's right on par for like $100 to $200. And let me explain. This dollar bill right here has a serial number that is damn near a full ladder, except for one digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0. So a couple digits away from a full ladder, and there's a pretty big price difference between one and the other. This one right here sold for $150. That seems to fall in line with other similar notes that I've seen that have sold in the past because I keep a very close eye on this market. But you have to consider that a full correct ladder, 1 through 8, typically sells for about $1,000 to $1,500, and the big discrepancy in value has everything to do with the condition of the note. So notes that are obviously crispy, uncirculated, brand new out of the pack, that would hit kind of like that higher tier of money. Whereas circulated notes, like this one, still do okay. They're still around $1,000. Some a little bit less, a little bit more. Depending on, how much someone buys it for. But yeah, this is one of the neatest notes that I've seen here this week, and keep an eye out for patterns like this. The next one that we have here is actually a lot of $4 bills. So if you didn't want to go through all the trouble of selling one note at a time, which I would say it'd be more smart to sell them one at a time, you just realize more money that way. You could do it like this. So this lot of 4 is sold for $50, and these are quad pairs. So 00, 77, 4s, 2s. The next one is 3, 9, 8, 1, and then so on and so forth. So they have 4 pairs in there, and that's how they read. So each note worth about $12.50. Pretty cool lot. I like that one. This one's upside down because it's a flipper. It's a 2003 $2 bill with 6s, 9s, and 0s in there. So when you flip each one of these 3 numbers around upside down, they're all going to read this similarly. Because the type style is all the same, whether they're upside down or right side up. All right, the 6s read as 9s, and the 9s reads as 6s. The note is in phenomenal shape. It looks uncirculated, and that's what they put in their listing title. And even the district number for Minneapolis, number 9, is actually also a flipper. So again, this is a pretty neat note here. The money is justified for this one. The next one that we have here, $100 bill. But check out the serial number. It's a 4-digit low serial number. It's a star, but it's also a binary and a flipper. So this has a buttload of stuff going on. They even put Occult Satan right at the listing title, which, I guess it works out if you have fanatics for that sort of thing. $179, which, this person probably end up profiting about $55 by the time it's all said and done, and that's with after fees and shipping. They did charge free shipping here on this one. Good looking note, a little bit of soiling, a little bit of wear, not too bad. Here's another 4-digit serial. Okay, this is typically how much 4-digit serials go for, $19.99. They're in that $10 to $20 range, somewhere around there. Much newer notes, maybe a star note, they do sell more. Double quads. So if you had 4 zeros and 4 ones, that's a big one. That'll probably sell for in excess of $100. But, all in all, there's quite a bit more 4-digit low serial numbers than there are, 3 digits. So obviously there's a reason here to look for this. Plus someone also did put November 27th as a date that they identify with that one. All right. And we also have a binary repeater. So 1113, 1113 on this dollar bill. It's sold for $80. Golly, what a good sale on this one. The regular repeaters have been doing incredibly well. A lot better than I had anticipated for this week. Now, that's not obviously a trend because, we do see the ebbs and flows of, any one given pattern. There you go. Yeah, that was the $80 bill right there. We do have a couple best offers, so we'll use 130point.com to find out how much these really truly sold for. We have a binary 7s and 8s. You can see how it's red right there on a dollar bill. So we'll copy and paste this guy into 130point. It's a great website when it works. Sometimes they have their hiccups, and you just kind of have to roll along with it. So this is that first note right here with the 7s and 8s. Let's see if it'll pull it up this time. $40. Okay, not too bad. Again, it's a binary. You have two of the strongest selling individual number types all in the same serial string, which certainly helps its cause. Otherwise, this would be like a $20 find. And then finally, we have another binary, 0s and 3s. And it's a low serial number, 3003. So as you can see, they took, a big enough picture where that the note wasn't flattened out. You have a pen here, a penny, a nice red table. You can see a pair of legs and shoes. And, it looks like it was taken in a shop class in school. It's just... presentation's everything. You could crop a lot of all these extraneous things out of there if you wanted to, and flatten out the bill the best that you can. But let's go ahead and see how much this one sold for. And at this point, I'm just kind of poking fun at the seller there. But you did sell it. You did make money. So I can't completely hate. That's not bad. That's actually the big idea here when you were doing this. And $50 was the original ask. The seller was going to end up bringing home $35, okay, which is, again, a very strong showing for that particular note. All right, so that's going to go ahead and do it. Good old mini-me down here on the bottom right corner appreciates you guys popping on in on this video where we explored the fancy serial number activity for the week. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to today's video and the channel. If you haven't done so already, all of your extra support will go a long way in ensuring that I do some halfway decent quality content in the future. I know you guys like halfway decent, and I hope to deliver on that. So I am out of here. Best of luck in your hunts. Go ahead and try it out. It can be very profitable, very fun, and a real stress reliever if you want it to be. But I'll see you guys next time. I wish you guys the best, and happy hunting. So long.